A reporter grilled State Department Principal Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel about the killing of Palestinian-American journalist Shireen Abu Akleh during a press briefing Tuesday. The line of questioning comes after the Israeli military announced there is a high possibility that one of their soldiers killed Abu Akleh, but said they will not be pressing charges. The reporter asked Patel if the State Department plans to hold the IDF accountable, to which Patel continuously responded that they will press Israeli partners to closely review its policies and practices on rules of engagement in order to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The reporter said people have called for accountability, but, quote, there does not seem to be any accountability there.
I want to start in the Middle East. I want to start with Israel.
Okay.
And your guys' response to the IDF report on the killing of Shireen Abu Akleh, but also on the situation with the Palestinian NGOs. So number one, on the IDF report yesterday, I'm a little confused as to what your actual response and what your actual position is. This is an American citizen who was killed. You have called for accountability, and yet there does not seem to be any accountability there. And the statement that came out yesterday in Ned's name mentions accountability, but are you satisfied that this is that the Israelis have done what they need to do in terms of this case?
So we continue to underscore the importance of accountability in this case, and we're going to continue to press our Israeli partners to closely review its policies and practices on rules of engagement and consider additional steps to mitigate the risk of civilian harm, protect journalists, and prevent similar tragedies in the future. Ultimately, that is a key goal for us, as the statement from Ned said yesterday, is to underscore that similar actions and similar occurrences don't happen in the future. And that's what we continue to reiterate with our Israeli partners.
Well, but do you think that accountability has been achieved?
So again, we continue to underscore the importance of accountability in this case, and we're continuing to press our Israeli partners on that.
Forgive me for not accepting that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I continue to underscore the fact that it's important that, you know, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, but which it does. But do you consider that you believe that Israel has taken steps to hold whoever is responsible for her death accountable? And then if I could now just actually back up, what does accountability mean to this administration?
Look, Matt, so I'm not going to categorize that in one way or the other from here. That's for our Israeli partners to determine. What for us to do, and the role we're continuing to play is pressing Israel to closely review its policies and practices to ensure that something like this doesn't happen again.
Okay, but that's not what accountability is, unless you guys have a different definition of it than the dictionary does. So what does accountability mean for this administration? An apology, we're sorry, it happened, maybe it looks like it happened by accident,
So,
but it won't happen again? That's what accountability is, or is it something more?
we are continuing to press Israel to review its policies and practices, and that is what accountability.
How does that, that doesn't, reviewing their practices and policies does not mean accountability for this woman's death, does it?
Look,
Maybe it does in your view.
our thoughts remain with the Abu Akleh family as they grieve this tremendous loss. Not only, as you all know, Shireen was a U.S. citizen and she was a fearless reporter. And part of our vision of accountability is ensuring that activities like this, that something like this does not happen again. And that's something that we continue to raise directly with Israel, that it closely review its policies and practices on the rules of engagement, to take additional steps to mitigate risk, to protect journalists, to protect civilian harm, and to ensure that similar tragedies don't happen in the future.
Okay, well, what is then the other part or other parts of accountability? From your perspective,
Matt, I think I've answered your questions a couple of times. I will just
Well,
reiterate
I mean,
again that
you've said some stuff in response to my questions a couple times. I don't think you've answered them, but Eric, I'll let someone else go on. I just want to move to the NGOs.
Sure.
So you had said that were looking for additional information to, support the Israelis' allegation to support the Israelis' decision to close down these offices. And I'm wondering if you ever got that.
We continue to engage directly with our Israeli partners on that. We strongly believe that respect for human rights and the importance of strong civil society are critically important. And we've made clear to the Israeli government and the PA that independent civil society organizations in the West Bank must continue their important work. I don't have any updates on this beyond what Ned briefed on this a couple of weeks ago. We continue to seek additional information from our Israeli partners, but don't have an update beyond
So
that.
they never brought the information that they said that they were going to?
I just don't have any other updates on this.
But if you're referring back to what Ned said a couple of weeks ago, that was before the Israelis had brought this, what they said was going to be this information. They promised that they were going to bring you. They haven't done that as far as you know.
We are in direct communication with the government of Israel, and we're continuing to seek additional information.